Mistress slapped 8-month pregnant wife 47 times on live TV. Audience didn't know she's the station owner. She stood there trembling under the blinding studio lights, the cameras rolling, millions of eyes watching from across the country. Her face was swollen, her lips split, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. The audience laughed, clapped, and shouted, thinking it was part of the show, a spicy twist to the evening's live broadcast. But it wasn't acting. It wasn't scripted. It was real pain, real humiliation, and a real cry for help. The woman they were cheering for, the one who delivered slap after slap to an 8-month pregnant woman, wasn't just a guest. She was the owner of the entire TV station. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strength of the human heart, then please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who still believes in humanity, and subscribe to Royal Stories to keep such voices alive. Her name was Sarah Malik, a young woman who once dreamed of working in television. She came from a small town where her father ran a modest bookstore, and her mother stitched clothes to make ends meet. Sarah was brilliant, soft-spoken, ambitious, and gentle-hearted. Her dream was simple: to tell stories that touched lives, to bring hope to screens filled with greed and glamour. When she married Armin, a charming and well-known TV anchor, it felt like destiny smiling upon her. Together they looked perfect. He, the handsome host with a magnetic smile, and she, the quiet writer who helped shape his words behind the scenes. But behind the glittering facade, cracks had already begun to form. Armin was ambitious to the point of cruelty. As fame grew, so did his arrogance. He began staying late at the studio, making excuses, ignoring Sarah's calls, dismissing her tears as overthinking. Sarah's pregnancy brought her joy, but also loneliness. Armin became distant, cold, and distracted. Then came the rumors, whispers in the corridors, hushed tones between staff members, of a powerful woman who had taken a special interest in Armin. Her name was Layla Rahman, the unseen force behind the TV empire. No one dared to speak her name out loud, but everyone knew, she owned everything, and she got whatever she wanted. When Sarah finally discovered the truth, it shattered her completely. Armin wasn't just having an affair, he was living a double life. Layla had become his mistress, offering him wealth, fame, and a future under her shadow. Sarah, pregnant and exhausted, begged him to end it, to think of their child, to remember the vows they once made. But instead of remorse, Armin laughed. "You're nothing without me, Sarah," he said one night, his voice dripping with contempt. "You write words, I make them matter." Those words tore through her like glass. Weeks passed, and Sarah withdrew into silence. She stopped going to the studio, avoiding people, pretending everything was fine. But fate had other plans. The producers, unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes, invited Sarah as a special guest on the channel's anniversary live show, one that Layla herself was hosting. It was supposed to be a celebration of women's empowerment, a laughable irony considering the reality. Sarah hesitated, but when she saw Armin's name among the hosts, she felt a flicker of courage. Maybe this was her moment, to speak, to be seen, to reclaim herself. The live broadcast began with cheers and confetti. Layla stood radiant under the spotlight, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes, flawless makeup, and a smile that could cut like a blade. When she introduced Sarah as the wife of our beloved anchor Armin, the crowd applauded warmly, unaware of the tension in the air. Sarah walked onto the stage, wearing a simple white dress that barely hid her trembling hands. The studio lights made her pale skin glow, but her eyes carried the weight of betrayal. Then, something unexpected happened. Layla turned to her and said, "Tell us, Sarah, how does it feel to be the wife of a man every woman dreams of?" The tone was mocking, the smile fake. Sarah tried to answer calmly, saying she was proud, that she believed love could survive anything. But before she could finish, Lila's hand flew across her face. The sound echoed through the studio like a gunshot. The audience gasped, then laughed, thinking it was part of the drama. But it wasn't. It was real. Layla slapped her again, and again, 47 times in total. Each slap fueled by hatred, jealousy, and the twisted pleasure of domination. Sarah didn't fight back. She couldn't. Tears mixed with blood as she whispered between sobs, "I forgive you." Those 3 words silenced the crowd. For the first time, Layla hesitated, her hand trembling in midair. The director signaled to cut the broadcast, but Layla raised her voice, shouting, "Keep rolling." Armin stood frozen at the side, unable, or unwilling, to stop her. He just watched, his face pale, his fame slipping through his fingers. By the time the show ended, Sarah had collapsed on the floor, clutching her belly, crying silently. The audience was still confused, unsure if what they had witnessed was performance or punishment. But the truth came out the next morning. A backstage employee leaked footage from behind the scenes, showing the producers pleading with Layla to stop, and Armin doing nothing. Within hours, the video spread across the internet like wildfire. People were outraged. How could a pregnant woman be treated like this? How could no one intervene? The nation erupted with anger, demanding justice for Sarah. Layla went into hiding. The station faced boycotts, lawsuits, and government inquiries. Armin was suspended and later fired. And Sarah, fragile, broken, and heartbroken, found herself in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if life was still worth living. She had lost everything. Her husband, her dignity, her peace. But in that darkness, a spark began to grow. The nurses, strangers who saw her every day, began leaving small notes by her bedside. "You're brave. We believe you. Don't give up." Those little messages became her strength. Months passed. Sarah gave birth to a baby boy, whom she named Amon, meaning peace. She vowed to raise him in a world kinder than the one she had known. Her story didn't end in silence. When she recovered, she spoke publicly for the first time in an interview that shook the entire nation. She didn't cry or accuse. She simply told her story, raw, real, and powerful. Forgiveness, she said, doesn't mean forgetting. It means refusing to let hate define you. Her words reached millions. Victims of abuse wrote to her, thanking her for giving them courage. Women who had stayed silent for years began to speak. Sarah started a small foundation that offered support to women suffering from emotional and physical violence. The same TV world that had once destroyed her now gave her a platform to heal others. She became a symbol of grace in the face of cruelty, hope in the midst of despair. As for Layla, her empire collapsed. Her reputation never recovered. Armin tried to return to the screen years later, but the audience never forgave him. Sarah never looked back. Her peace was in her child's laughter, in the lives she helped rebuild, in the quiet knowledge that she had survived the storm. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need hope today, and subscribe to Royal Stories for more real, emotional tales of courage and redemption.